Welcome in to We Talk Facts with 9-year NBA veteran and Nebraska basketball Hall of Famer Erick Strickland and two-time Nebraska football national champion Clester Johnson. Talking and taking names in sports and day-to-day living. Sit back, relax, and join the show with 9-year NBA vet and Nebraska basketball Hall of Famer Erick Strickland and two-time Nebraska football national champion Clester Johnson.
Oh yeah! Once again, it's on. It is a Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, but it is We Talk Fact Tuesday. Yes, you already know what it is. WTF? Thank you for joining us on the Sutter Heyman stream podcast line LO9 channel 951. We are not on the radio right now. We're only on the stream. So Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and well, Twitter is now X, and YouTube is where you can find us. So each and every night, 8 to 9 on Tuesday. Not every night, but on Tuesdays is where we are. Clester Johnson, my brother, Sibo, the bald head nut. What's going on with you, my friend?
You know, it's been an interesting week. You know, I had a child who plays professional football for the Seahawks. I'm a shout out to Cade Johnson. Unfortunately, was injured in the game, just a slight concussion, and he is actually feeling better, on the rise back, and may not play this week, but we're looking to see him back at full action in the following week. So much love from Pops. He might be looking, not sure, but I told him I was going to give him some love. So just wanted to shout out Cade Johnson. That's all. That's all.
Yeah. You know, I just a quick touch on that. I would say, you know, he had to start in the game.
Yeah.
I hate when this happens for young players, when, you know, they can really make a stamp for themselves, and these injury protocols, whether it be by, you know, a normal type of injury, or, well, he may enter into concussion protocols. Is that probably?
Absolutely. Well, that's what he's in that realm right now. And you know, the NFL is very serious about concussions. Yeah. You know, I know he had to go to for precautionary reasons, had to go to the hospital just to make sure, you know, I'm sure they ran a battery of tests just to make sure his cognitive awareness was there. And, you know, we've talked pretty much every day. So, you know, he seems to be the same Cade.com, you know, full of information, useless, fun information, and things that you didn't think that he would know information. So yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Shout out to Cade. We're going to stay in the football realm. The topic we're going to get into today involves, it could be controversial. I think keep an open mind is one thing that I will say for this particular show, because the Michael Orr situation has been with us for quite a while now. We saw it kind of come to the forefront with the movie The Blind Side. And, you know, we heard a lot of background on that, the Toohey family and a lot of them. New information continues to come out regarding this topic and subject. So there are some things that we have learned as of late. We do know this by fact that as of August the 14th, that the retired NFL star who was with the Baltimore Ravens filed a legal filing that the story was largely false. And that triggered a lot of people just in that alone, because like I said, you know what, it's almost 15, 20 years now have passed. And, you know, now this subject comes to the forefront, but I think there's some things to discuss regarding that and to kind of look at. And the claim is that there were amends made off of his name to which he was not a beneficiary in any form or fashion. Some of that background involves the signing of a conservatorship, which is similar to what happened to Britney Spears in that situation. A conservatorship is different in his mind, in his eye. He's just finding this information out. A lot of people are saying as of 2022 So this is pretty fresh to him as far as him finding out this information that he was not necessarily adopted. He always had thought that there was an adopting. He knew that he wasn't the beneficiary for quite some time, but he didn't know that he wasn't adopted. He wasn't a part of the family.
Yeah, and just for the exact court file, he alleged in the court filing that the family who took him in as a young player had deceived him about being adopted and deprived him of earnings from the Oscar-nominated film.
Yeah. So in that, we're going to discuss that a little bit. We're going to dig into that topic and some of the subject matter in that topic today. But take it with an open mind, because this goes beyond the Michael Orr situation. I think this happens in so many situations across the board, and we're just going to talk about it from a sports perspective and how that's looked at. Sibo, what's your initial take on the story when you heard it, when you first became aware of it? Pundits are saying different things. The family is saying, different things. The attorney for the family is saying different things. So right now we're still kind of waiting on some of this information to come out. We don't know how it's going to pan out, if it's going to go to court, if it's going to be a settled situation. We just know that the Tui family, they were already, a well-off family. They were doing very well. There's also now some alleged information coming out with regards to him being a booster at Ole Miss. He ends up going to Ole Miss. Was there some form of tampering? And what was the coach that was at Ole Miss at that time? Was it Freeze? Was it Hugh Freeze?
Yeah, I don't know.
I have to look that up. The head coach, the coach that was there for Ole Miss, was actually part of the high school coaching team. And so there's some kind of like, if you get him here, I mean, there's a lot of that type of stuff going on. If you get him here to Ole Miss, you could get the job. It's some of that stuff going on as well.
Yeah, it was Hugh Freeze.
It was Hugh Freeze, right? So yeah, so there's a lot of stuff out there, but we're going to dig into a little bit more about this topic. Talk about it.
I was wondering if you wanted my initial take.
Yeah, that's what I want. I wanted to just give a little bit of background and make sure that the groundwork, the foundation was laid.
You said a great foundation, my brother. You said a great foundation. That's just two brothers going back and forth sometimes. Sometimes we just harass each other.
Buzz heads.
I would, this is not just in the football realm.
Mm-hmm.
This could be across the board in all sports. One of the things I kind of wanted to talk about was how sometimes people's motives are not necessarily on the up and up. Some people see an opportunity. Some people see an opportunity to capitalize on a situation. And it doesn't necessarily have to be with a child, right? It could be as the player start to hit a little bit of fame, and then all of a sudden you'll see some people come out of the woodwork that traditionally wouldn't give you the time of day. I'm gonna ask you some questions too. As you ascended on your come up and got into the professional ranks, I bet you can look back and go, man, there are some people that I really had to stop, so there are some people that I had to watch out for. There are some people that when I look back, I'm going, man, why did I let them in the door? Why did I entrust them to do what they claimed they were going to do?
Mm-hmm.
It's just even tougher for a kid. Like, his story was an inner city kid who seemed to was homeless in a bad neighborhood. Obviously he had family members, but no one that he could really depend on. And it's just sad to see. It seemed like when you watch the movie that you thought there were great intentions in what they were trying to do.
They kind of, let's be real, they kind of made him look like he was dumb. Like, real talk.
In the movie,
real talk.
They
really did. They really did. They did
Yeah.
him a disservice. They made him kind of look like he wasn't competent. But see, the sad story about that is, Sibo, he was a basketball player. He was playing multiple sports.
Mm-hmm.
To be in that situation and still have the acute awareness to not only go to school, but to do well, to stay eligible, and to play multiple sports. So he was an athlete. He wasn't just somebody where you can, like in the movie, they show they grabbed him and, you know, they had to teach him how to block and how to protect. Come on, somebody. That man was solid. But go ahead.
And
stop the cap.
So
we talk facts over here.
This is the thing.
Let's go.
There's, as we can observe, like I've seen people, even in my journey, and I've watched people how they treat other kids who are good athletes. They tend to
get into it.
You know, sometimes you can see that the motives are not right. And like I said, it's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate that you got people out there who just want that association so that it can enhance them somehow, some way. You know, hey, I know such and such. You know, hey, I know such and such, which allows them an end to accomplish something for themselves. And that's not genuine. It's not genuine. And it always comes to the light.
At some form of fashion, at some point in time.
At some point, your motives will come to the light because you're going to slip somewhere. You're going to slip somewhere. And
well, sometimes greed will make you feel comfortable.
And the person you're dealing with is going to eventually figure it out. It's always amazing to me when I see some of these athletes. Like I saw, I love the show American Greed, where there was, you know, Dennis Rodman was dealing with the same person that had Ricky Williams, the same person that had like Travis Best, the same person. Like she was able to get in there and kind of, you know, weave her way with her pretty looks. And she was obviously very intelligent. Because here's the thing that I notice about snakes. They come looking very good. Like they're not dumb people. They're not dumb.
Oh, Bernie Madoff, let's be real about it. I mean, you know, one of the biggest.
Very smart.
Yeah.
But a lot of times they're coming with half truths and they're coming with destruction. And sometimes it's just like a long-term destruction. It's just killing you softly, and then all of a sudden you look up and money gone.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, you see these situations often. I mean, just as of recent, you know, there was a story out regarding Usain Bolt that happened with him as well. You know, you're working with people that you feel have your best interests at heart. At the end of the day, then you have to look up and kind of say, dang, man, what happened? Where did it go? You know, there's plenty of football players that you've heard those situations with. I think Terrell Owens, it might happen to as well. You know, some say that even if you look into the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar situation, that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you know, wanted to retire many years before he did, and had to continue to play. I mean, let's be real about it. They weren't making that kind of money back then. Yeah.
Now, do we want to get really controversial here?
Well, let's go. We talk facts.
Because sometimes it's not necessarily a prominent family. It could be a young lady, right? It could be where else do we want to go with this?
Man, you said
you can put that through the weeds, man. That's all.
You want to say let's dig? You dig. Let's go. Let's dig.
You know, we've seen it happen where, you know, young ladies, there's some young ladies, sometimes they can see that there's an opportunity to capitalize on an athlete. So we've seen that happen.
Zion case.
Well, pause. Look at the Christian Wood situation.
Oh, yeah. Didn't even think about that.
Christian Wood had a girlfriend who was with him through the ranks. Next thing he know, he's sitting on that day. We've been at that day where we were sitting with Cade, so forth, and, you know, watching the draft. And during that situation, He doesn't get drafted. One of the most disappointing times of his life. Takes her to the airport, never hears from her again. Then signs a $45 million deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's that, ooh,
yep,
I messed up moment.
Right.
But you're right. There's others out there that you break that down. Go ahead.
We're going to come back to that. But I just want to throw out some other situations. Now you got business opportunities coming to you that may not be on the up and up. And a huge one that can really, really put you at odds with yourself can be family. Okay. So you got family, you got women.
You want to do right
by
by
the
the
business.
family.
You do, right? But I really feel like family members who understand what the mission and the goal is, they will be cool, right? And let the chips fall where they may. Because
you're seeing that with John Morant.
Right. It's just about supporting that person. And at some point, if it gets to, life-changing money, where there's no doubt that you're never going to be broke, then you have to allow that person to discuss that with you. You know what I'm saying? They'll figure it out. They will figure out what they're comfortable with and what they want to present to you as a family member. So as an athlete, sometimes who become very successful and come upon a lot of money, these are the trappings that they got to deal with. So when I saw that Tui story, I instantly started thinking about these other things. It's very, very, I don't want to make an excuse for us men when it comes to how we deal with the ladies when you got that kind of money. But you also have to understand that you are now a target. You are a target. You have a bullseye on your back. Your money is on the internet. They know how much you make.
That's a fact.
And it becomes public knowledge. So therefore, you have to surround yourself with a good team of people who can, cipher some of that stuff off. But I'm going to tell you what, it's hard.
It's really hard.
It's very, very tough.
You said two things, and I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Before we go to break. One thing is, you're absolutely right, because I actually used to know a girl. One of the things about me is I always I kept female friends. And the reason I kept female friends is because because I wanted to know how they think. So I'm sitting with a female friend out of LA, and she literally had a spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet?
Deadass.
Hey, Harrison, did he say spreadsheet?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned.
A spreadsheet.
Hopefully for her own finances, I'm sure.
I said spreadsheet almost. I said spreadsheet.
Good thing we're streaming. That's two back to back on you guys.
A spreadsheet.
She had a spreadsheet.
And it had information knowing how much these individuals make. She knew she knew hotels where we stayed.
You said this is California, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that still going on today? Isn't there? I swear I hear those stories.
You're right.
Continue. Yeah,
you're right. Going. And that's where my second question comes. Is this is the question before we go to break. Is this something that has continuously been going on? Or is it just something that's more prevalent and just more, the microscope is more on it now because we're in social media time frame. And we just didn't hear these stories as much because it's kind of a taboo thing. No one ever wants anybody to know that they've been hurt or they've been scammed or they've been done wrong by any form or fashion.
Yes.
I've got a story, and I know Clester may want me to address it. And he may ask it of me at some point because I've shared it with him. Clester knows a lot of my.
No, I wasn't going to. I
I
wasn't going to. I'm just. It's been so many stories that we didn't necessarily have to get personal, but it's so many stories that we may even know personally or that we have seen that just makes you go, man, like how do you watch out for these IUDs? You know, how do you watch out for these potholes? You know, and what are, for me, what are some of the things that we can put out to the young up and comer that can say, watch these things?
Yeah, so we're gonna talk a little bit more about the Michael Orr situation in a little bit more depth, but then we'll talk about those potholes, how to evade them, and what things or parameters or boundaries that one could put in place to help in this process. And we'll do that when we come back on WTF. We Talk Facts right after this.
We talk facts.
Agriculture is the economic engine of the Midwest. At Acres Equipment, we dedicate ourselves to making that engine run smoothly. We supply our farmers and ranchers with quality John Deere equipment, parts, and service. We also deliver the most advanced technology and precision ag strategies to help them farm today and for the future. Acres Equipment, solutions for every field.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has come to the attention of the Nebraska Lottery that when people hear a radio commercial in their car for one of our lotto games, Powerball, Mega Millions, or Lucky for Life, they tend to begin daydreaming about how they'll spend the prize money if they win, instead of paying attention to the road. So please, when I tell you that Nebraska Lottery Lotto games offer big money and big fun, keep your mind on driving. Do not start thinking about all the things you could buy if you win. Things like bright red sports cars, tropical vacations, 100-inch TVs, hot tubs, SUVs, a new computer, motorboats.
Bob, snap out of it.
Oh, good heavens. Ladies and gentlemen, my apologies. Perhaps I should go home now.
You better let me drive.
Lotto games from the Nebraska Lottery. Top prize odds vary by game.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $24.11 per hour, which grows to $28.27 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $32.76 per hour with opportunities to make more based on certification. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here. Summer is fast approaching. With weddings, vacations, and weekend getaways on your mind, do not let car issues prevent you from getting where you need to be. Car problems shouldn't be something that you put up with. Let us get you back on the road in comfort and safety. We diagnose all makes and models from Porsches to Hondas, Toyotas, and Chevrolets. We fix a variety of issues with all of them with our talented techs and our experienced staff. A1 Automotive at 11th and L, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
Steve's Garage Doors and Services is hiring. They are looking for a garage door installation and service technician with a clean driving record. Experience is not required as they will train for the positions. However, mechanical aptitude is required. If you want to come be a part of a small business where you're family, not just an employee, call Steve's Garage Doors and Services today to apply at 402-480-2840. That's 402-480-2840. Steve's Garage Doors and Services.
This Easter, focus on your family instead of dishes with the Venue Easter to-go meals. Prepared fresh in house by our chefs, these meals are ready to heat and eat with packages for 2 to 3 people or 6 to 8, and your choice of juicy beef tenderloin, tasty herb roasted chicken, or our famous 6-pepper crusted prime rib. All meal packages come with sides, and we have additional add-ons available to complete your feast. Order today at venuedelivered.com/Easter. That's venuedelivered.com/Easter.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
to We Talk Facts on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Strick and Clester.
We're back talking about the Michael Orr situation and the Tui family, the controversies that's going on with that. I think when we talk about that, I think this is where part of the problem happens, is because you have a vulnerable young man. You have someone that's been hurting, but you also have somebody where you see potential. You see an opportunity. And then the next thing that happens is you want to attach yourself to it because you see that there's something. So on the upfront, you're a blessing. You look like you're a blessing, and you take somebody in. The person begins to get close to you and your family. Your heart begins. You're bound, because you're at a place of vulnerability, and when you're in vulnerability, what ends up happening is guards begin to get put up because you don't know who's for you, who's against you. You're looking around, you don't know who's over the shoulder, and those walls begin to come down when there's a sense of love and there's a sense of care and there's a sense of concern. And you have an 18-year-old man where a family attorney comes to you and you think you're going to become a part of this family. Family is doing well. They're well off. And the next thing you know, down the road, now he did speak, and I shout out to Flimmo on YouTube who did a segment on him. You can go back and watch. It was a great segment. That it's a two-parter. One is the update of what's going on now. One
shout out to Flimmo.
Shout out to Flimmo. And there was also another one from him breaking this whole thing down in detail. It's great. And what you see is he didn't want to make waves. He knew that it was not authentic because he's watching this film. He kind of felt embarrassed.
Yeah, I mean, how especially you said it yourself, but the way they portrayed him.
Yeah, the way they portrayed him.
That was not accurate.
He was embarrassed. But because they're family, in his mind, he thinks they're still family. He thinks he's adopted to this family. And you can look at it because the story is still pretty good. It's still a pretty good story. It's a heart-wrenching story, even though, you don't know if they told him this. You don't know if they just wanted to kind of spin it a little bit to make it, camera worthy. And then later on, they talk about, you hear the Tui family having a interview, and they're talking about a split. So the kids benefit. Mm-hmm. They've set it up to where the kids get part of the royalties as well as them. They're writing books. They're getting movies. They said it's a 5-way split. And Michael's like, I ain't benefiting from that. And that's where the hurt kicks in. And so Flimmo kind of exposed it to him, showed him a different light because he shouted Flimmo out on it. Yeah. That, man, thank you, because I didn't even know, that parts of it. And I got more to share with you. And so we're probably going to hear more about this as this comes out. But
one of the things I wanted to say as you were talking is two things can be true at the same time, one positive and one negative, right? Mm-hmm. The true thing is that they took him in. Mm-hmm. They took him in. He was, poor, needed help, needed guidance. They provided that, right? Seemed like they raised him. But the other part of it is the negative side of it is the motives. Like, what were you doing it for? So the one hand looks very good in the public eye, and it's very hard for him, Michael, because it's a conflict. Here it is. He was taken out of a situation by this perceived wonderful family. But on the other hand, they got a motive, right? And that's what's unfortunate about this whole story.
So there's a difference between what you're talking about, the motives. There's a difference between a conservatorship and adoption. Mm-hmm. And that's where there's a distinction in this whole situation. And, right. and that's presented itself because you take a young man and put him under conservatorship. Mm-hmm. That means you, family, whoever is the conservator, owns the rights to anything that happens in that young man or woman's name.
Right.
Yeah, but it has it in there, and it has it in the case too. The conservatorship meant the family was able to make deals in his own name, and this is his word against theirs. But he does say at the time he thought it was adoption papers, and it was a conservatorship.
Yeah.
So that's where I think the real cross is going to be, trying to figure out, because that's just, he versus she,
Right.
Who's right there.
I'm just wondering, since he was so underage, and
so they're going to try to use the 18.
Yeah.
So he's adult, but there's a difference still. You're still an impressionable, young-minded.
Yeah.
You don't know. You have not been exposed to the legalese and the way of the writing of attorneys' documents. You don't know at that time to take that document and go to another attorney because he's the family. You think you're family.
Right.
You don't know to take that document and take it to somebody else and say, hey, can you look at this for me?
Yeah.
At that age.
Yeah.
One, you don't have the money to do it. Two, you probably are not close to anybody. Like there's probably attorney friends that you and I, if somebody brings something to us, we can run it by and say, yo, man, make sure, is that good for me? And they ain't gonna charge you nothing.
Right.
Right. But that wasn't the case with him. And I think that's where there's gonna be some things to discuss with this.
Well,
situation.
he's gonna have a case, but people who are savvy with their money and know the law, or have people who, a team of lawyers, which I'm assuming that they've probably been working on this thing for a long time to make sure that they trump tight on what they're trying to get accomplished. I think he's going to be fighting an uphill battle, but I'm hoping that. I'm calling.
Even if he just gets it out of conservatorship, he wins, right?
Yeah.
Because they can no longer use his name. Yes, they may at the end of the day feel as though they won because they dang near hit, but
I'm wondering if I don't think they had control over his NFL money though.
No, that's him.
No, okay, that's a good deal. But again, this story is not unique to Michael, and it can hit in a lot of different directions. So, I know the Michael Orr story is one that is a young man who was taken out of poverty, and you have this rich, well-to-do family bringing him in, taking care of him. It's a little different from a young man who's coming into money, gets money, and then you have, like we discussed in the last section, you have all the other pitfalls that start to come in. And then we had mentioned that it's hard, right? It's hard. That's where I want to go next.
So we're dealing with that now because we have NIL situations where young men are making, the young fella, Ilya Malova at Tennessee is due $8 million.
My question to you. I got a question for you.
I got a question.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's another one.
This is my question for you, E. So you got guys making money.
Mm-hmm.
And some of this stuff is accessible on the internet for everybody to see. So you got businessmen, you got women, you got family, you got a lot of different avenues coming to you. You got your baby sister's third cousin, reaching out to you, right? About hooking you up with something. Why is it hard, E? Tell me, why is it hard to say no? And it's different aspects, right? Women, why do you think it's hard for these guys to say no? Business, why is it hard for guys to say no? Family, why is it hard to say no?
Well, I think with women, in some instances is because your dating pool expands immensely. One, when you're in high school, now in the you have guys like Mikey Williams who are making a tremendous amount of money. You have Instagram and you have accessibilities that we didn't have coming up. So you were usually regional, but now you have people jumping in your DMs like crazy, and you're getting an attention that you got on a basketball level and a regional level. But when you're talking about Tiger Woods type, or Michael Jordan, and you're kind of going into that space. You're talking about a different type of women.
You're getting attention like you're a woman.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. In a way.
Because traditionally women get that kind of attention where guys are constantly in her DM and she's like, nah. But when you're a guy and you're getting that kind of attention, it's like,
whoa. And they all bad.
Yes.
And they bad.
So
that's where on that perspective, you're talking about fringe family, cousins or whatever. It's hard because you want people to win. And you don't want to come off as a lot of people, especially in the community, try to say, you done made it. You brand new now. Oh, you different now. And so sometimes you try to alleviate that parts of it.
Moved away from the hood.
So you try to evade it. And then that's the type of ramifications that come back at you. Now, when you talk about family, you want family to win. You won. And especially if family, you maybe told mom, I'm gonna get you that house on the hill or whatever, you want to do that. But when you do that, you got to know that others is gonna come out the woodwork. And if you say no, guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna go back to other family members, and they're gonna go back and have these conversations about you that is not positive. It's not favorable. It's very negative.
Talk to me about business opportunities.
Yeah.
How do you know now you got potentially millions of dollars? How do you know what's a good business deal? How do you decide who you're going to go into business with?
So I tried to surround myself with like my father, who I knew is a man of integrity. He was an officer in the Air Force. I always knew he's a man of integrity. And then I had multiple people that would do oversights. So they would do checks and balances. So if I had one attorney, I'd have two. So that way one could check the other. Or if I had an accountant, I have multiple. So that there would be checks and balances on them. That's kind of what. But then I got into a situation where a friend brought a friend. The deals initially was working. We sold a couple properties. We did some good real estate business. It was good. So I ended up getting, I think, $1 million credit line or more. Maybe it was more than that. And we did some business, only to find out that, like Clester, you said, these young people are smart, and in their smartness, they've created scam teams. So they put in place. I ended up losing, I want to say about $1.3 million on a $3.5 million real estate deal. Now, the real estate was legit. It was a deal. We looked at all of the information, the documents. But they had a team that worked in the bank. They had a team that worked in the appraisal office. They had somebody. So it was a multifaceted scheme that all the players involved, no matter what we brought to them, they were able to back up, hide it, back it up, document it. And we asked specifically about an easement on the property. If that easement is not a factor, it's a $3.5 million property. We talked about the easement. We took it to multiple people. They lied about it. We bought the property. So it was really only worth 1.3. And it was a great location. Everything was good. And we sold all of the space up opposed to the easement. And that's where it killed us. But it's just something that it happens.
Yeah,
it happens. It's unfortunate. It happens on bigger scales than probably the scale that I was on. But nonetheless, those are the type of situations that happen. And break it down because we're going to go one more break. But go ahead, break it down.
My follow-up question would be, in this business deal, when you look back, what would you have done different? Just for people who are listening to this, who have that kind of money, that have people coming at them, how would you do it differently?
That's a hard one, because we actually did other deals where we made money. So
with these people,
yes,
that's tough.
So
that's the entire system you're going up against.
Yeah,
that
was a tough one. I don't know. That was a tough one to sniff.
Did you know them?
So he was brought to me, and so that's where so it was a slow vetting. It was a couple of low key deals to kind of test it. Yeah. And this is similar to how the Madoff situation happened, because those people invested. They did some low key investments, got paid on it. It's coming back at 12%. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I put more in, so now they're going all in. The money comes for a little bit, then all of a sudden, it's a hard thing to sniff out.
So I would say this: there are some great scammers out there, and my
That's a fact.
only advice is you have to vet, and do business with people who you know have a track record. So you have 3, 4, 5 references. There's people that you can go to that you know this person has done good business and they've done it for years. So that's another thing. They've done this good work for years, and you know that they're, like you said, a people of integrity. So that's how I would do it with the business part. But like you said, there's good scammers out there, and they know how to get you.
Sometimes it's a part of the getting, and sometimes it's not. And I think in this situation regarding Michael Orr, it was one of those that the vulnerabilities of the heart got got tainted. It's a tough one.
That's a tough one.
We'll be back to finish it up right here on WTF. We talk facts right after these few messages. Peace.
Agriculture is the economic engine of the Midwest. At Acres Equipment, we dedicate ourselves to making that engine run smoothly. We supply our farmers and ranchers with quality John Deere equipment, parts, and service. We also deliver the most advanced technology and precision ag strategies to help them farm today and for the future. Acres Equipment, solutions for every field.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has come to the attention of the Nebraska Lottery that when people hear a radio commercial in their car for one of our lotto games, Powerball, Mega Millions, or Lucky for Life, they tend to begin daydreaming about how they'll spend the prize money if they win, instead of paying attention to the road. So please, when I tell you that Nebraska Lottery lotto games offer big money and big fun, keep your mind on driving. Do not start thinking about all the things you could buy if you win. Things like bright red sports cars, tropical vacations, 100-inch TVs, hot tubs, SUVs, a new computer, motorboats.
Bob, snap out of it.
Oh, good heavens. Ladies and gentlemen, my apologies. Perhaps I should go home now.
You better let me drive.
Lotto games from the Nebraska Lottery. Top prize odds vary by game.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $24.11 per hour, which grows to $28.27 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $32.76 per hour with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here. Summer is fast approaching. With weddings, vacations, and weekend getaways on your mind, do not let car issues prevent you from getting where you need to be. Car problems shouldn't be something that you put up with. Let us get you back on the road in comfort and safety. We diagnose all makes and models from Porsches to Hondas, Toyotas, and Chevrolets. We fix a variety of issues with all of them with our talented techs and our experienced staff. A1 Automotive at 11th and L, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
Steve's Garage Doors and Services is hiring. They are looking for a garage door installation and service technician with a clean driving record. Experience is not required as they will train for the positions. However, mechanical aptitude is required. If you want to come be a part of a small business where you're family, not just an employee, call Steve's Garage Doors and Services today to apply at 402-480-2840. That's 402-480-2840. Steve's Garage Doors and Services.
This Easter, focus on your family instead of dishes with the Venue Easter to-go meals. Prepared fresh in-house by our chefs, these meals are ready to heat and eat with packages for 2 to 3 people or 6 to 8 and your choice of juicy beef tenderloin, tasty herb roasted chicken, or our famous 6-pepper crusted prime rib. All meal packages come with sides and we have additional add-ons available to complete your feast. Order today at venuedelivered.com/Easter. That's venuedelivered.com/Easter.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Agriculture is the economic engine of the Midwest. At Acres Equipment, we dedicate ourselves to making that engine run smoothly. We supply our farmers and ranchers with quality John Deere equipment, parts, and service. We also deliver the most advanced technology and precision ag strategies to help them farm today and for the future. Acres Equipment, solutions for every field.
Back to We Talk Facts on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Strick and Clester.
Yes. We're back on the WTF podcast on 93.7 The Ticket FM. For everybody who's plugged in with us tonight, we just want to thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you again. Please tell your friends, tell your family, tell your cousins, tell your neighbors to tune in. And, one thing I would really love is, if we got people out there listening and they want to hear our opinion on a certain subject.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way, however you want to communicate
send it to eStrick at theticketfm.com.
There you go.
eStrick is where, if you have any topics that you would like to touch or discuss,
right.
Send it to eStrick at theticketfm.com.
I mean, it could be Husker stories. I mean, it could be around the world stories. It doesn't even necessarily have to be sports.
I'm sorry, E. Strickland. Don't. I almost cut it off. E. Strickland. Add the land on that thing. That's facts.
Now, to bring this home fully, what we were talking about, there is no magic way to get through life without having some pitfalls.
Mm-hmm. No cookie cutter.
We definitely gonna have some situations where we're going to have to go through the fire, and hopefully we learn from our mistakes and we get stronger. The old saying, what doesn't kill you will make you stronger. And one of the things I really tried to talk to my young adult men, children, is, how to handle some of these things, but you can't do it for them, right? You
can't coddle them, you can't hide them, put them in a bubble.
No,
can't do all that.
It's one of the things I try to talk to mama about. You know what I'm saying? You can't save the children. Sometimes
you gotta expose them.
You gotta allow them to go out and make these mistakes and just really hope, like heck, that it isn't a life-changing situation where they can't recover from it. Because there's some things that we can do as human beings that it's just hard to come back from it. It's just it'd be really hard for you to proceed through life like you want to if you get caught up in certain situations. So I have sons that are athletes, and obviously one of the big things is how to handle some of these subject matters that we're talking about. Luckily on the family front, I think they realize that mom,
for their benefits,
mom, dad, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm doing my own thing in regards to taking care of myself, and I'm not looking for any sort of a handout. In regards to business, like I mentioned to you, Eric, and you, Harrison, is just making sure it's people that you can vet, that they have a track record, that they have done business for a while, and that you can do some real research. I mean, the benefit of social media today is even just Googling names, right? Because you can Google a name, and if you've done bad business, it's probably going to pop up. It's probably going to pop up. So just make sure that some of these things are really easy too. Sometimes we get caught up in such a really good sounding deal that you don't do the background check on it. And if it sounds too good to be true, right? It's probably
no.
It's probably not a good deal.
And you can do that in relationships too now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I would say is, so let's address the ladies, for these young men out here. It is a tough situation to now be like a lady. And what I mean by that is you are getting approached as like you're a woman now. Usually it's the woman being chased, but when sometimes you become famous and have all this money, you become the hunted. In that case, my only advice would be is, make sure you have a good team around you, people that you can talk to,
ask questions, take time,
people that they have your best interests at heart.
There's always somebody that knows somebody too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That, and then just kind of, you got to try to use your own intuitions also, because sometimes you'll just kind of know if somebody loves you for you versus, man, some of their moves, some of their motives are not adding up. But there's some good people out there who really know, there's some wolves in sheep's clothing out there that come to you and you really don't know. But I would say you have to keep a good team of people around you that you can talk to, that you can bring people around and vet. Also, you can ask questions, have somebody else ask the questions right in front of you, just see how they handle things. But like I said, there's no perfect solution to it, but just make sure you got people you can talk to and talk you through some of these issues you may run into.
Yeah, it's important to build a family, build a village around you that will help to shield
care
out,
about you,
that genuinely care about you, to shield this out. We hope that the Michael Orr situation works out. We're not taking a sided issue on it. We just want all parties involved and the lessons to be learned from it, because this is what happens here on We Talk Facts. We dig into the facts of the matter, and we allow you to make a decision as to how you move forward. We'll give you some ideas, thoughts, and some potential plans on how to navigate through it. But at the end of the day, WTF, We Talk Facts, we'll be back next Tuesday.